r/AskReddit by Reddit. What was a house rule you had as a kid that you thought was completely normal until you grew up and realized not all households followed? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the video. We had family council every Sunday night after dinner. We would sit and say good things that happened that week, share our grievances if we had any. We always did, make a dinner menu and assign chores. Frankly, it was stellar parenting. Though, if I mention it to my mother now, she will brag about it for a solid 20 minutes before we can move on. Edit. Thank you, magical human who gave me gold. She will brag about it for a solid 20 minutes before we can move on. You should bring that up in your next grievances report. We weren't allowed to eat anything without first asking. Even a glass of water, we were required to ask first. When my boyfriend and I started dating, I would ask his parents if I could eat or drink something if I was hungry or thirsty, and it was a hard habit to break when his mom told me I could literally eat or drink anything other than the alcohol. It was so weird to just go into the fridge or pantry without permission. I sometimes have to fight the urge to ask my BF if I can eat our food in our apartment. When I went to my parents' house over Christmas, I was reprimanded for getting an apple without asking first. It's just also weird, but it used to be so normal. Whenever I enter my childhood home, I instinctively open the fridge, even if I don't want anything. I also tend to eat any fruit that is in the bowl, and I have no idea why. I come from a large family. Anytime we'd order pizza, we ordered a few different kinds because, obviously, there were different preferences. Any leftovers were left in their respective boxes and placed in the oven. I did that when I lived with a couple of roommates, and of course their reaction was, "I just burned this box. Why was this in the ducking oven?" My husband's mother does this. I can't tell you how many times I've nearly caught her oven on fire because she had a pizza box in there and I didn't know about it. I don't understand. Cheese needs to be refrigerated. We live in the south. It's hot and humid and mold grows everywhere. I don't know how she hasn't gotten food poisoning. Wacky time. No noise, annoying mum and dad until 7 AM. This was a really necessary one. BC, I was a very early riser as a kid and I loved to talk to my parents. The rule was that I could come to their bed and curl up next to them, but I couldn't talk until 7. It was actually really nice and made sure I got enough rest myself. Tragically, once I started rowing like 7 years later, mum and dad had to get up at 4 anyway to get me to the sheds. Sorry guys. My niece is a very early riser. So my sister made the rule, if she sleeps over at grandma's, she is not to get up and wake grandma before a certain time. So she would lay in bed, looking at the digital clock till it was exactly 7 AM. She couldn't even read the clock properly, but you could ask her every time, "When did you wake up?" and she'd answer exact to the minutes, like 5:47, 5:47, and "When did you get up?" 7:00. She was such a cute bug. I wasn't allowed to take a shower if I was home alone. I also learned at age 7 that other households close the bathroom door when using the toilet, and keeping it open was weird. I learned that by keeping the door open at a friend's house. A friend walked by the bathroom, saw me, told their mom called my mom, and all of a sudden the new house rule was we close the bathroom door when using the toilet. I can't take a shower if I'm home alone either. My dad apparently busted his head open slipping in the shower when he was living alone in college. He had to get up and drive himself to the emergency room. Now he won't let us shower if we are alone because he's paranoid the same will happen to us. My parents would check my and my brother's teeth for sugar bugs every night after we brushed our teeth before we got in bed. If they thought we were trying to skip brushing our teeth, they would tell us they could see the sugar bugs in our teeth and would make us go brush again. My brother and I were so convinced these sugar bugs were real we would constantly ask when we'd be able to see them. My parents always told us only people 13 and older could see them, but by the time we got to be 13 we had completely forgotten about the sugar bugs in our teeth. I love thinking about creative parenting tactics like this. I've even used that one while babysitting a fussy kid who doesn't want to brush their teeth / get ready for bed, and it helps a lot. My mom freaks out about hearing commercials on TV. The second it goes to commercial break it has to be muted. She also mutes it if she thinks it's about to go to commercial, even though sometimes she's wrong. And she doesn't really pay attention, so she doesn't notice a lot of the time when the commercials are over, so she leaves it on mute when the show is back on. It's very difficult to watch TV with her. If I told my parents I was leaving at a certain time, I had to leave at that time. Let's say I told my parents I would leave a party at 9. I couldn't leave at 8:50 or I'd get yelled at / grounded. I couldn't leave at 9:10 or I would get yelled / grounded. Same thing went for when I was leaving my house to go somewhere. Why would they ground you for coming home early? Edit. Okay, I get it. They were ducking. I had to wash the dishes every night, even if I wasn't home for the meal. There were times I'd get home from an away basketball game. I was in the team after 10 PM and the dishes had sat since they finished reading around 6:30 PM. My older brother's nightly chore? Take out the garbage. He'd be done in 2 minutes. I'd have 30+ minutes of washing, drying, putting away, and cleaning up the kitchen. Say mug. My parents' explanation for why it had to be me was that my brother didn't do it properly. Same with vacuuming. Shoulder just done it like awfully. Not a rule, but still to this day I'm befuddled at my mother's reasoning. When I was a boy we lived in a pretty rural part of Mexico. Horrible infrastructure. Power would often go out in the middle of the night. She would proceed to wake my brother and I up, simply to wait until the power came back on. For the life of me, I cannot figure that out. She wasn't afraid of the dark, she just wanted to make sure we saw the power return. Edit. Everyone keeps suggesting because of fire reasons, and come to think of it, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's actually how we lost that house. Maybe my mother is clairvoyant. Grid restoration can start electrical fires. Most places have ironed out the kinks at this point, but she and or her parents probably know a family or two who had their house catch fire while they slept. Wasn't in my home, but my aunt and uncle never let us use the upstairs washroom when we were kids because they thought we'd touch the walls with our dirty hands. So they made us pee in a jar they kept under the kitchen sink and just poured it down the drain when we were done. Never thought it was strange until I brought it up to my cousin a few years ago. We laughed pretty hard about it. Wait, they would rather have a jar of pee in their kitchen sink than kids touching their walls? You win. Drug-free urine is hard to come by. Gotta get creative sometimes. This makes too much sense to be wrong. Yeah, the fact that it even makes sense at all compared to the reason they provided makes me very convinced that this is the actual reason. Otherwise just cleaning the occasional stains in the washroom would certainly have been easier than managing a kitchen pee jar. My mum used to pay me to be my own babysitter between the ages of 10 to 14 or so. The rule was that as long as I didn't make a mess and I'd put myself to bed by the time she got home, then I got $10 in the morning. My parents did this. Only I have 2 younger brothers, and the rule was that we would all get paid, but only if we got along and didn't burn the place down. It was very effective. Even if we fought while they were away, we'd all be on our best behavior by the time they got back. Didn't want to miss out on that payday. No curfew as long as I told my mom where I would be. I was always honest. BCS. I loved being 16 with no curfew. If we ever snuck out of a friend's house, we would literally phone home and say we are sneaking out to go to a concert. Yes, most of my friends did everything in secret, and it was honestly so worrying to me that I didn't hang out with them much. My mom always said I could do pretty much whatever I wanted as long I didn't spend the night on the streets, and told her where I was, so seeing my friends saying they were going to someone's house and then go somewhere else was so foreign. Bare skin was not allowed to touch the leather sofa. No shorts, bare feet, tank tops, etc. Also we had to peel mushrooms. It took forever and was completely stupid. I did not even know mushroom peeling was a thing. Just watched a YouTube video to confirm. My mind is blown. OMG, so I totally thought it was what everyone did, like peeling skin off an onion. Then I went to stay with my aunt for a few weeks, my dad's sister, and she asked me to help chop up some vegetables. She looked over to see what was taking me so long and was horrified that I was peeling the mushrooms. That's when I learned that nearly nobody does it. Later on my dad insisted that his mom always did it and my aunt called him out on that bullcrap, so that was nice. They still peel mushrooms, but now nobody will help them. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.